Ndị be anyị kenekwen m unu. Anyị si ka nke onye chiri ya zerụkwa. Anyị si n'ụbọchị nketa adịrị na anyị na mma na ihe adị ka echi na echi ada agwụ agwụ, otu anyị kwuru otu akọ ya dịrịrị. Ise ise dịka o si dị, ihe a bụ Eastern News 24 ka anyị si na-ewetara ya bụ ozi ọnụ ụjọ gị na ugbu a n'iru akwụkwọ kpasịta maka ya bụ ife unu na anụ na-eme n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya, anụ nwere onwe a na-azụ n'ala Igbo. Ya bụ ife ka na-ewetara na Eastern News 24. Ya wetara n'iru akwụkwọ bụ n'ụbọchị nketa bụ according to one of the Biafran activists, and he quotes, "Biafrans react, jubilation everywhere as the good news that Biafrans are waiting has finally arrived." As Biafran Prime Minister Simon Ekpa defeated Bianca Onoh at Finland government High Court in Lati. Alright, according to Yabo update Makia Webia, because ya massive night hunting and another P obni name, dosi obni name, Gentin Yabo Nukwa de Okemba. The key gesi bicoriatia and to Sayabosi. Colotumu 9 doesn't ebedi teacher. Macasere, Onoh Nigerian Yakoro 1 year. Alright, over to you, sir.
Simon Ekpa, Mazinam the Cameron. They are the problem of Nigeria. I think by now, let's tell ourselves the simple truth that Nigeria government is supposed to be ashamed of themselves for abandoning what Nigeria are facing currently and be pursuing Samuel Ekpa far from Finland, holding Mazinam the Cameron. Today, as we speak to you now, we are hearing the atrocity these Fulani headmen are committing in Nigeria. How Boko Haram are buying our Nigeria gallant soldiers to the extent that Nigeria youth have lost interest in joining Nigeria armies. Now, they have not do anything about that. Samuel Ekpa, Mazinam the Cameron, that is the only southeast. They according to them, they are terrorizing. How come they now give more attentions, resources to the only southeast where they feel that they are creating problem? What happened to the Boko Haram, Fulani headmen who are buying people in different regions? Today, Samuel Ekpa have also defeated these people who petitioned him, Bianca Onoh, the rest of them. Yes, I've told you people that Finland is not in Nigeria, whereby you think that you can bend the law to favor whoever you like. If we were to be in Nigeria, that Ekweremadu did that thing he did to that poor man Pekin dead, Ekweremadu would have been maybe a governor of Enugu, maybe he would have been the governor of Enugu by now. Or he will have still been senator. But God wanted to disgrace him. He went to do that thing in the land where there are rules, rule of law is respected, not Nigeria here, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have taken it upon himself to destroy the remaining institutions that we are managing. As we speak to you today, EFCC are no longer doing their work. All they do now, they do paddy. It's people that are against Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the EFCC will go after, DSS go after. Now in Finland today, you people have seen what happened again. That we keep telling you that these people don't have evidence. They are just chasing cloud. If you have evidence, the same IPOP that you people have said, okay, IPOP is a terrorist organization, which if Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not believe what Buhari, he would have struck out the case out and allowed this case to rest. But because these people, they are pursuing one mindset against the Igbo, but he's telling me that the leaders in the Southeast are not using their brain, that they are being hated. For crying out loud. I have once said that Ndume was a kidnapper in Taraba. He has committed a lot of atrocity. The same things Evan did. Today, Ndume is living freely in Taraba in the north. In fact, they have given him chief title. As I speak to you now, Evan is still in the custody. That's why Evan now have upgraded himself, have gone to National University in prison. He has come up publicly to beg that he's ready to give everything he has gone in that illicit way, that he's now a born again. Nobody listen to Evans. Why? Because Evan is an Igbo man. What is the sin of Igbo man in Nigeria? I have kept saying it that it is the British that planted this hatred in the midst of the Yoruba, the Hausa Fulani against the Igbo. There is nothing, anything anybody can tell me. What is the sin of the Igbos in Nigeria? After the Biafra war, where Gowon allowed the British to use him to massacre, to buy a lot of Biafrans, millions of Biafrans were died. Their money was being seized. Gowon called them, no veto, no vanquish, come together, let's form Nigeria. Ever since then, now how did they allow the Igbos to play their own part in this country called Nigeria? We have Wazobia for crying out loud. The beer have been removed. Somebody is now saying now that Naira mean never allow Igbo man to rule Nigeria again. That is the meaning of Naira. If these people are not making us to do saying all these things that is on the public domain is true, why are they in every opportunity they have, they treat Igbo as if Igbo is not part of this country? I'm not an Igbo man. I am from the middle belt. What Gowon caused in my allowed the British to use him to perpetuate in this country called Nigeria is what is affecting my people in Benue. As I speak to you now, my people can no longer go to farm in Benue, and you say I should be happy with Bola Ahmed Tinubu government. You want to try Mazi Nnamdi Kanu at all costs, you start afresh, wasting resources, wasting everything. Under your government now, you have borrowed money more than Yaradua, Jonathan, and Buhari. 2 years you have spent. Despite you have removed subsidy, you are not paying subsidy for Nigeria. Yet you are pursuing the case of this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Have you not heard that in my place in Benue, the region where I come from now, they can no longer go to farm? Instead of Nigerian military men to swing into action to stop these boys who are causing this mayhem in Benue, they keep arresting the Igbo youth, the Benue youth, that because they want to defend themselves. Have you now seen the reason why people have given up in this country called Nigeria? And that's why we are saying that we cannot continue this way. The best way for this country is restructure this country, or you divide this country, let everybody go on their own separate way. Enough is enough. Souls are being loose. Many experts we have in this country now, they have moved to abroad because of this shenanigans character they are doing. Because of this hatred against a tribe. Before now, when these Igbo were in the front line of Nigeria economy, we were doing great. Go and check from Obasanjo to Yaradua, from Yaradua to Jonathan. We were flying, we were one of the best in Africa, we were doing well. But set of people came, they felt that the hatred they have against these people, that they have not forgiven them because of the Biafra war. Just because they decided to go, they don't want to belong to Nigeria. What is the crime there? I keep saying it in this, if you feel these people are not important, moreover, they are just 5 states in number. As you people have politically shift them to 5 states, allow them to go ready the minute at 1 state. Let's continue with ourselves and let's see if it will work. If you feel they are important to the society, let them contribute their own effort in this country called Nigeria. As I speak to you now, the Yorubas and the Fulani Hausaman have destroyed the country. There is nothing anybody can tell me. Go to Ghana here. Ghana that was coming, Ghana make Nigeria as their home. Few years ago, today reverse is the case. Look at the population of Nigeria in Ghana now, is even more than the Ghanaian citizen. And that's why you are seeing them do their championing that Nigeria must go in Ghana. Eventually now we are taking everything that belongs to them over there and they are hungry about it. All these shenanigans dragging Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Ekpa, how is it the problem of Nigeria? That common man can no longer feed his family. You cannot, 10,000 naira cannot survive a family in a day. And yet nobody is talking about that. Everybody keep everything is all right. Because the man who is there, he knows how to play his game. He used money to block people. He need to block their mouth so that they will not talk. The clergies that are supposed to open their mouth to talk, who championing this, try to bring Jonathan down under Jonathan government. Right now, money has blocked their mouth. They are seeing the truth. They cannot speak out. Or in the name of tribe. If you talk about Bola Ahmed Tinubu regime now, some people take it upon themselves as if you are trying to bring their tribe down. For crying out loud, we cannot continue like this because there's no peace, there's no unity among us anymore. You cannot beat the child and you expect that child not to cry. It's an abomination. Within 2 years, you break every record. You borrow more than three or four consecutive presidents. Now under your government, you remove subsidy. Nigeria cannot move out. Nigeria cannot drive their car anymore. This is so embarrassing. And every Nigerian need to stand up and voice out what is happening. We can no longer continue this in this manner. I have told you people time without number, time will tell. This Finland, you people are saying, this Finland might not have case against Ekpa. They might not have case because they don't have concrete evidence against him. The same thing that is happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu case. Have you people seen what happened today in court? The examine of the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu trial. A reasonable government came in. You should be able to know that Buhari was trying to cause tribal war again. Should be able to strike out this court, allow Mazi Nnamdi to go, let him go back to his country, come to table, call people to dialogue with them. What is happening? How can we get it right? What do you need? What do you expect? You do that. You want to. I don't understand what we are doing in this country called Nigeria. Watch this video where a Ghanaian journalist took it upon himself and said what Nigeria is causing to the African country the neighboring country in Africa. What Nigeria, this damage of bad leadership are causing. For you to know that it's not only we Nigeria here that's feeling it. Many African countries, neighboring countries, they are feeling the damage. Watch this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel.
The topic for this video is how shameless and problematic Nigeria is at this point. I first of all know you would want me to mind my business and talk about my own country, Ghana. But listen, I don't really care about what you think. And if you haven't checked in my videos, I talk more about my country than any other on this platform. But at this point, it's not just silly and problematic how miserable Nigeria is. It's becoming for all of West Africa. And if you feel agitated already for my choice of words, wait and hear the rest of all I have to say. Let's get into it. Nigeria's population is a national security threat to every neighboring and West African country. As of March this year, Nigeria's population is more than half the total population of West African countries. More than half. This means on any given day, the influx of Nigerian citizens to any West African country will easily swallow up the entire local population. This is why every country in West Africa needs to have a say in what goes on in Nigeria, on the backdrop of the fact that they like to travel, ladies and gentlemen. They like to move, and they are moving in numbers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, two major situations are making Nigeria look scary to the rest of Africa, especially the neighboring West African countries. And I said two major things. But first, let's put aside the lack of stable electricity and inflation for now. Those are regular problems everywhere that every country in Africa has to deal with. However, the two worrisome situations brewing in Nigeria, which threatens the sovereignty of other African countries, has to do with the religious extremism and poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to again hold back on the insults for now, and also put down your biased glasses and hear me out for a minute before you come in. Are you aware of the number of Islamist jihadist groups operational in Nigeria as of 2025? Let me give you the list, ladies and gentlemen. It started in the year 2000 with Boko Haram, whose aim is to establish an Islamic state in Nigeria. Then the first splinter group from Boko Haram, called Ansaru, was formed in 2012. After Ansaru came the next splinter group called Islamic State West Africa Province, aka ISWAP, which started in 2016. Darul Salam also came in from the Niger Delta, and then the multiple Fulani militant groups came in. Just when we thought these groups were too many to handle for one country, then we hear of a group originally from Mali and also operational in Niger moving in to Nigeria. They are called Lakurawa. The situation appears to get worse by the days, from one bad jihadist group to a worse group. Ladies and gentlemen, is Nigeria becoming, or already become, the main breeding ground for all terrorist groups in Africa? What's going on here? When other countries are thinking of ways to create conducive environment to entice foreign investment, Nigeria is rather enticing terror. Let me ask you this. What conditions are made where almost all of them are situated? Groups will directly enter all the nearby countries. These are countries in West Africa. This may include the splinter groups moving to other countries or the citizens of Nigeria abandoning their own homeland for another. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious issue that needs immediate continental concern. Nigeria is a friend of Ghana. Nigeria is a part of ECOWAS. When they are moving into your country, we cannot turn them away. But when 1 million moves in at one time, what then becomes the fate of the host nation's security, sovereignty, and economy? And this can happen on any given day, ladies and gentlemen. And what actually terrifies me is this. I don't see any real political actions or steps taken by the leadership of the country to deal with the situation. You don't hear of the presidency talk about strategies. You don't hear of governors talk plans, and senators the same. Where are the marches, ladies and gentlemen, and the demonstrations on the streets to force the hand of the government to face it head on? Where are they? It's like the fate of the people in this country is in individuals' hands. Those with the resources may hire armed officers for their personal security, and those who don't have to live carefully and away from certain hotspots. Ladies and gentlemen, is this the best Nigeria can do in their own country? Day in, day out, all we hear is kidnapping, robbery on buses and even on trains, village killings, and so on. Is this ever going to change in Nigeria in the nearest possible time? Nigeria currently ranks 10 on every type of crime list in the world. Talk about cybercrime, organized crime, financial crimes, and extremism. You will find them on the top 10 list of all of them. What type of society are you building? On the criminality index on ocindex.net, you are 6th out of 193 countries, 2nd out of African countries, and number 1 in West Africa. You are ranked 19th among the least peaceful countries in the world, and nothing shows it bothers you, especially they that hold power in the country. Onoh Naija, what's up? When you finally get the chance to vote for a president who may bring a difference to the country, you reject it. You vote the same type of leader continues. Why won't you try change? Why can't the people try what Ghana did? You come out in your numbers. You create your own coalition centers. You protect the ballot boxes at all costs and ensure a free and fair elections for once in your lifetime. Because if you as a regular Nigerian don't like what's going on in your home country, you have to do something about it, ladies and gentlemen. That cannot be done by anyone else but yourselves, unless it benefits you. What's the ultimate goal here? When you have chosen democracy as your system of governance and it's only making life a living hell for the majority of the people, what is the plan, ladies and gentlemen? This is disturbing. Now, on to the second situation that is of equal concern as the first. This is about the level of poverty in Nigeria. You have more than 40% of your total population living below the global poverty line of $2.15 per day. That's more than 100 million people, ladies and gentlemen. That's a national security crisis. To have more than 100 million people who don't spend up to 3,300 naira in a day is problematic for the state's economy and for the people themselves. And here is how. The 3,300 naira per day will include your transport fare in and out to work if you have one, or to school, your breakfast, your lunch, your supper for one person. And so when that's not possible for more than 100 million people, then there isn't much these 100 million people are doing to contribute to the economy of the local state. People must work, produce, buy, pay taxes, and all of that, which runs the local economy. And that explains why countries whose citizens spend more do better than countries which citizens spend less This is economic fact. Economic activities thrives off of demand and supply, buying and selling. And so when purchasing power drops, supply power is affected. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to that is the low rate at which Nigeria's economy is growing. With the kind of population you have and expected to have in the next 10 years, your economy cannot survive on a single-digit economic growth in a fiscal year. Currently in Nigeria, your country is growing on an average rate of 3.4%. 3.4%. That's super slow for your size. You need to move that thing to more than 10% per annum and sustain it over a decade to meet the surge ahead. Your country's population is projected to hit 290 million in the next 10 years, and that's adding at least 50 million more people to what you have now. So the pace you are running will have to change immediately. From 2020 to 2023, the average unemployment rate was over 39% of the capable workforce until last year, when the new administration by Tinubu had to revise the method for calculating to reduce it to now 5.3%. Whether that is accurate or not, the reality of the people hasn't changed, and that's a huge problem. Ghana and every other country for that matter have our own problems to deal with, but at least not with the numbers Nigeria comes with. The very fact that these two situations I've just described has a direct impact on all neighboring countries is what has triggered me to do this video, because the rise and success of Nigeria is in the interest of all African countries. In the same way, the fall and demise of Nigeria is detrimental to all African countries, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, whether it offends your pride as a successful Nigerian who doesn't like your country being talked about in a negative light or not, that's not only up to them or you to determine what others may say, because once there is a problem in your country, everyone will feel the impact. Just like it said, when Nigeria sneezes, every African country catches cold. Folks, I want to read your opinion on this matter without insult. So let's hear from you.
Of course, you can hear from that Ghanaian man. They say truth is always bitter, but the guy have just spoken nothing but the gospel truth about what is happening in Nigeria. Whatever that happened in Nigeria is affecting the whole Africa, and that you can see that the insecurity in Nigeria now is gradually spreading to Africa country. Of course, for Ghanaian man to come out on here and speak what a lot of us has been speaking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu regime, this is a lackadaisical character, don't show some concern, people they buy, people they die, hunger they buy people, different thing is happening, it doesn't show. And that's the thing we are saying. Don't forget that if you look at it, that before Donald Trump have said it before about the killings of Christians in Nigeria, that it has to stop. These guys that are focusing on where Christians dominate in Benue, in Plateau, to make sure they wipe away the Christians.
Ndị be anyị ngwadalụ dị nenu dịka unu si wee na-esola n'iru akwụkwọ n'ihe nke anyị na-eme na Eastern News 24. Ka efi were ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife ndị a niile nọ n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị uhuruchi nke taa. Ka efi wee ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife drọpụrụ ife iche n'ụdị nke gị ngwa nke mesịa na ụmụnne m.